another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. How are you? It has been 3 weeks since my last podcast episode. Thank you so much for your patience in allowing me an extra week to get this episode out. I do have quite a bit to talk about with you and some things to show you and so much, you guys. But first, it is the moment that we have been waiting for, and it got extended through various life circumstances, but the end of the whip make-along is officially over. Now, I've left the chatter thread open if you'd like to continue chatting and focusing on finishing your whips. Absolutely do that, but I have locked the FO thread, which means I have drawn prizes, so I have some prizes to announce before we do anything else, because I know you guys are dying for that. Now, I have put together 8 prize packages. Thank you so much to the viewers of this podcast. All of the prizes that I'm about to show you have been donated by lovely viewers of this podcast at some point or another, and they have been in the prize bin. So I have 8 prizes. I have 3 for the Works in Progress thread, an Instagram prize, and then 4 for the finished objects thread. Now, of course, I wish that everyone could have a prize, but there were over 400, I think there were almost 400 entries in the finished objects thread and like 200 in the chatter thread and about the same amount on Instagram. So that would be quite a bit. One thing I am excited about is that I think, now I don't really keep track of everybody I've ever sent a prize to because that would just be too much, but I don't recognize most of the Ravelry names that I pulled, so I'm pretty excited to send prizes to new viewers or people who are participating in a make-along with this podcast for the first time. That's really, really exciting to me. So without further ado, let me show you the prizes. Now, there are 3 for the Works in Progress thread. What I'm going to do is 7 of these prizes are on Ravelry and 1 is on Instagram. If it is on Ravelry, I have already sent you a Ravelry message. You need to get back to me with your full name and your mailing address so that I can get these in the mail to you. And if you're on Instagram, I did send you a message, but please send me a message back and you'll have a few weeks. I'm not one of those people that's like, you have to watch this video or you don't get a prize. I want to get the prize to you, but you do have to respond with your address. So the first prize for the Works in Progress thread is going to post number 96. That is Ravelry name Cinnamon Stitches 7, who is Jennifer. And what you have won is a massive Karen cake. Oh, it's upside down. This is the colorway Lemon Lime. And you have also won a tiny little prize package from Attic Spendai. I have a couple of these left. They so generously sent me these little packages quite a while ago to use for prizes. And it has 2 itty bitty beautiful hand-dyed minis, some tea, ooh, and some handmade stitch markers. So that is going to Jennifer. Please give me your address as soon as possible. Prize number 2 for the Works in Progress thread is going to post number 64, which is Maggles 42389. I believe your name is Maggie. You have won 3.5 balls. I say 3.5 because this one got a little mangled. This might actually be a full ball, I'm not sure, but at least 3.5 balls of the same colorway, same dye lot, of this Bernat baby blanket plushie yarn. It is in the colorway Little Cosmos, and I love this yarn for blankets. I have made a couple of baby blankets out of this yarn, and they were very, very well received. In fact, my niece who lives with us has one that I made for her. It wasn't in this colorway, it was in like a orange and pink colorway, but she loves that blanket. So you have won all of this. And there'll be some, I'll put some tea in as well with the prizes. Sorry, I have to go off screen and reach over there. But little bits and bobs I can't really show because they would just get everywhere. So that is prize number 2. Prize number 3 goes to post number 1, whose Ravelry name is Craftineer, and I believe your name is Daisy. You have won this beautiful hand-dyed skein of yarn from Amber's Yarn Shop. This is the tag. This is the colorway Baby Elephant. This is a superwash merino, and it is a worsted weight yarn. So it would be perfect maybe for a hat or something like that. But you can decide whatever you want to it. So congratulations to the 3 winners of the Works in Progress thread. Now I'm going to move on to the Instagram prize. I have one prize for that. The winner is Karen.Rubenstein, and your name is Karen. What you have won is 2 balls of this Deborah Norville Premier Serenity Chunky tweed yarn in the colorway Eclipse. And I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but all of these little nets of like neon color make me so happy. And you have won this book called Cap Hut. So it's a book all about crochet hats. So it has all kinds of beautiful patterns for hats, different kinds of hats in there. And I am excited to send this to you. That is the Instagram prize. And then finally, I have 4 finished object prizes. So the first finished objects prize is going to post number 420. Your name is Chloe's Crocheting, and you are Chloe from Ohio. You have won this package of 3 balls of yarn from Ice Yarn. This is 75% acrylic and 25% Angora. So this actually has rabbit in it, and you get 500 meters, doesn't say how many yards, 500 meters per 100 grams. So there's 300 grams of this, and also a copy of the Interweave Crochet magazine from fall 2016. There are some amazingly beautiful patterns in here. Works in progress. No, what am I on? Finished object prize number 2 goes to post 44, who is CMH262, and your name is Cindy. You have won these 2 balls of Bernat Softy Baby in this mint and yellow. So cute. As well as an Animal Lovey blanket book. This was donated by a lovely viewer of this podcast, and I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. It just has, like, I want to show you, there's a super one of, they're all cute. Oh, look at this one. It's a cat. So cute. So, Cindy, you have won those. I have a very precarious stack of prizes right here. I'm just waiting for them to fall and take everything on the table with it. And then let's see, the third prize for the finished objects thread goes to post number 253. Your Ravelry name is Hooks and Halos, and I'm pretty sure you're from Canada. Respond with your address. Let me know. What you have won is this skein of Misty Alpaca yarn. So the fiber content in this skein is 50% alpaca, 30% merino, 10% silk, and 10% nylon. I know. And the colorway is Northern Lights. So I am pretty sure it's going to be a self-striping, but of course you never really know until you take it out of the skein. So I am so excited to send this to you. It is incredibly soft. And then the final finished object prize goes to post number 127. Your name on Ravelry is Adrian162000. And Adrian is a guy. Not that that's really important, but the post that won is him wearing a sweater that he finished, which is amazing. So what you have won is 2 little mini skeins of this Cascade Yarns alpaca lace, which is 100% baby alpaca, and you get, because it's lace weight, you get 437 yards to each skein, as well as this little mini set from Cloudborne Fibers. This is an 80% merino, 20% nylon mini skein set, and total there is 575 yards in here. So this little collection of minis is going to you, Adrian, and I'm so excited to send that off to you. So those are all of the prizes. The make-along has come to an end. However, it was great fun, And I'm just so excited that you guys participated so much, and we will have another make-along soon. I'm gonna take a break for a moment. I know I said that last time and then I immediately started another make-along, but I really do need a break at the moment, so we're not gonna do any make-alongs for, like, let me just say the month of September. Is that too much of a restriction to put on myself? I don't know, we'll see. So that is the make-along. I do want to say, if you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as The Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, on Facebook, The Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. We do have a Ravelry group for this podcast, of course. All of those are linked directly down below. And if you have any questions, inquiries, comments, concerns, etc., blah, 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 related to the podcast, please shoot me an email. That is the absolute best way to get a hold of me. My email address for this podcast is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Are you guys ready to talk about what I have been making? Because it has been 3 weeks. Now, there has been quite a bit going on in my life in the last 3 weeks, which I will talk about later at the end after we have finished talking about yarn. However, the first 2 weeks, I barely did anything. And I mean barely. But this past week, I have had some time off from work, so I focused on my yarning life, and I am much better for it, and I have a lot to talk about with you now. So first, let's talk about the pink and mint green elephant in the room. And that is, what am I wearing? I promised not to wear this on the podcast until the pattern was ready to be released, and I am so thrilled to say that the Tunisian Zen Cowl pattern is live on Ravelry as of right now. So it's Friday when I'm recording this. I'm gonna press publish while I am editing this podcast, so by the time you see this, it will be up. If you would like to purchase this podcast, what am I saying? Clearly I'm out of practice. If you would like to purchase this pattern, you can do so on Ravelry and get $1 off for 1 week. That will be, what date? I don't know. I think tomorrow, Saturday, is August 17th. So like whatever, 7 days from that. I'll put it on the screen. Use this code that I've put on the screen for 1 week. You can get $1 off the pattern. And let me just show you. It is finished. My testers were so lovely, and my tech editor got it back to me this week, and this is my very first Tunisian crochet pattern. And honestly, in the entire pattern that she tech edited, there were 2 errors. So exciting. So this is what it looks like. It has this beautiful diamond pattern, and this yarn is Life in the Long Grass Studios yarn. And I have started and ended with these little panels of Tunisian simple stitch. You can leave those out, and I've included modification instructions in the pattern on how to do that. The reason I like it is because it gives me, I know which one, where the back of the cowl is. I don't know why I need to know that, but I just like having it. So I have designed this to wrap twice around your neck. Of course, you can make it in any length you want. And I have put the modification instructions for that as well. What am I doing? I'm getting all tangled up. Let's try this again, shall we? So, much better. I don't know what I was doing last time. Twisting it too many times, clearly. So this is, I made it out of Life in the Long Grass Studios yarn that I picked up in Edinburgh when I was there in October last year, which I can't believe it has already been almost a year since I've gone to the UK and to Ireland. But it's so special to me that this turned into a design, and that it's pink and mint green, and I love it. And of course, this is a Tunisian Zen cowl because it is a very simple pattern. You only have to know how to do the knit stitch and the simple stitch. That is it. However, you have to count. There is no getting around the counting in this pattern, and I designed it specifically that way so that you would have to focus and be mindful while working on this pattern. So it is meant to, when you are anxious, when you are upset, when you are very tense, or having any kind of mental health days that are intense, to just focus your mind on something that's repetitive and that takes up enough of your brain space to where you can't focus on the anxiety. And it definitely did that for me. This pattern has been quite a while coming. I know you guys, some of you have been really just cheering me on for this pattern, and I know it took me way longer than I thought that it would to get this pattern out, but I am just thrilled that it is out now, and I am thrilled to be able to put something else in my little sheepy bag from Ireland, because that's what it's been living in. And I never take a pattern or a finished object or anything out of the bag with its yarn and its notebook and everything until I have hit publish on Ravelry, just in case I need to go back, I need to rejig a few things, I don't want the yarn to have gone missing or something like that. So I'm gonna adjust myself because I just can't stop touching it. It's so perfect to me. So yeah, it's live on Ravelry. I am so excited. And of course, you can make it in any weight of yarn or in any length of yarn. You know this. The modification instructions are in the pattern, and I really can't wait to see you guys' versions. So thank you so much to everyone who has supported me in this particular pattern, and I'm just full of excitement that it is finally available on Ravelry. Now, I do have 2 other finished objects. One of them was almost finished the last time I showed it to you, and it is a design as well, but I have blocked it, I've woven in the ends, and I've seamed it together. And this is the Vanya Cowl. This is a lace crochet design that I have made. Make sure I'm showing you the right side, yes. You can see the texture and the lace panels. Now, I'm gonna have to take this off. I just put it on and adjusted it to perfection, and now I have to take it off so that I can show you this one. So this cowl is made flat in turned rows, and then you seam it using the mattress stitch. Now I know a lot of people love to seam using a slip stitch. However, because this is a lace design, you really want to make sure that you use the mattress stitch, because then it makes the seam much more invisible. In fact, I don't even know where the seam is. It's here somewhere. I literally just seamed it the other day. Oh, there it is. This is where the seam is. So you can kind of tell right there. But if you use a slip stitch, that becomes really a lot more obvious. And once it's on, you can't really tell where this seam is at all. Now, I have made this quite loose because, of course, I am from Florida and it's about 90 billion degrees outside. Approximately. You can quote me on that. It is, in fact, that hot. I know some of you have been having things, weather just that hot, except you don't have air conditioning. I have been hibernating inside. But it is supposed to rain all day tomorrow. So it's been raining like crazy. So I have designed this specifically for like warmer clients. You guys, if you're a podcaster, like, don't go 3 weeks between podcasting, because all of the words will leave your head. Anyways, thank you for bearing with me while I'm trying to get my act together. I wanted to just something you could kind of I could kind of throw on to kind of zhuzh up an outfit. And I'm saying zhuzh, like, if you haven't seen Queer Eye on Netflix, like, you have to watch that show. You have to. And Jonathan is always like, yes, we just need to zhuzh your hair up a little bit, and he makes people feel spectacular. So I just want to zhuzh up an outfit. Like, I would wear, this is what I'm wearing, just a t-shirt and shorts. I would totally wear this with that, and it's loose enough. I don't like things that are like around my neck. I can't deal. So I wanted it to be loose. You can, of course, make this in any length you want. The modification and instructions will be in the pattern. It is a multiple of 3 + 2. So you could make it really tight like that. You could make it even longer. You could make it into a scarf. You could make it into a wrap. You could just keep going with the pattern repeats. And I honestly have thought about kind of just wearing it like around my shoulders. I don't know. I feel fancy. This would be the perfect thing over a dress. Now, I have actually already written the pattern up. I know. I've had some time off work this week, so I've been amazingly productive. So I already wrote the pattern up. I have not taken photos yet. So I do have to take photos, and then I will be getting it out to testers. So I'm hoping, now of course we know how my life has gone the past few months. I am hoping to have this pattern out in the next few months. Maybe by the end of September. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm gonna try and get some photos of it this weekend. And I have also, which I don't have here to show you, I finished my nihilist cowl. I seamed that up, and I wrote the pattern up, and I just have to take photos of that as well. So if you're on my tester email list, keep your eyes peeled as soon as I get photos. So this is made out of 100% silk lace weight yarn. It is by, excuse me, Fat Bunny yarn. In the colorway Dahlia, it's her petal base, which is 100% silk lace weight. And Fat Bunny yarn is, I'll leave a link to it down below, by my lovely friend Maria, who is local to me. So this is a yarn dyer who is in Clearwater, Florida. And so if you're a Floridian, you should totally buy this yarn. It's as local as you can get. I am just obsessed with this. And of course, lace looks pretty good when you're making it, but then I would say this was probably like this tall before I blocked it, and now it's this big. It's just, oh, I love it so much. I may even like keep it on the rest of the podcast because I feel like it goes perfectly with what I'm wearing. Okay, I'll stop. I'm just very excited about this. I blocked it this week. Let's do this so the Tunisian Zen cowl does not feel left out. We'll put it right here. Right there, everyone can see. Oh, you can't see through me? How about there? Perfect. Perfect ability to showcase 2 patterns at one time. Okay, the Vanya cowl is named after Vanya Hargreaves from the Umbrella Academy, which is unimportant to you if you don't watch superhero stuff or read comic books. However, the reason I named it Vanya is because this yarn is lace weight, which is like a mystery to me because it's so thin and yet so strong. Like, I am yanking on this, nothing's happening. So Vanya is a very fragile, delicate person in the show, but she's actually the one with the most power. So I named it the Vanya cowl, and I just think it's perfect. And I was living in this beautiful little bag that says, "You are a little drop of wonderful," that Allie made me from Little Drops of Wonderful. So I'm thrilled about it. Finished object number 3 is a pair of socks. And I am pretty darn excited to show you these. And you will see why as soon as I can get them on the sock blockers. Now, I have made these socks out of Hobbii yarn. Hobbii is a yarn company that contacted me a few months ago and sent me 6 balls of yarn to review and try out. So this is the second pair that I have made using Hobbii yarn. And I liked the first pair that I made, but I really liked this. This is the Hobbii yarn Happy Feet, and it's the colorway Tutti Frutti. Tutti Foodie. It's a 75-25 merino nylon, and I am comparing this. It is completely comparable to Knit Picks Felici or Knit Picks Stroll. So this is Knit Picks, this is Tutti Frutti Happy Feet from Hobbii. So this is Duchess Heather, and this is Tutti Frutti. Now, so of course I used the purple for the contrast toes, heels, and cuffs. I don't know what it is about this yarn, but it flew off my needles. Every time I was knitting on it, it was just amazing to work with. I loved every single stitch. I am quite certain it is going to fuzz up the same amount that Felici does. Felici is pretty fuzzy yarn. However, it's so soft and so comfortable to wear. And that's not the most exciting part. The most exciting part to me, you see these guys right here? These are Afterthought heels. My first ever pair of Afterthought heels. So I did these socks cuff down, no real pattern. I cast on 64 stitches. I did 15 rows of 2x2 rib. I use a 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular. I just knit all the way to the toe, and then I did a wedge toe decreases using magic loop, and then I cut the yarn for the Afterthought heel. So I picked up stitches and then literally snipped the yarn. I think you can, I don't know if you can tell, this one, this heel, you probably can't really tell. The Kitchener stitch is not great, but the second one I did much better on the Kitchener stitch. And I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do Afterthought heels or not. I didn't really follow a pattern or anything like that. I just picked up my 32 stitches, and then I picked up 2 extra stitches on either side, and then I decreased until I had half the stitches left of my original stitch count. So I had 16 stitches left, and then I Kitchenered the heel. So much fun. Now I will say I find the Afterthought heels a little bit annoying and fiddly because I would prefer to be done with my sock when I've done the toe. And if you do an Afterthought toe, if you do an Afterthought heel and you're working cuff down, that means you have to Kitchener 2 things on each sock, which I'm used to doing my socks toe up, and you don't have to Kitchener anything if you do it that way. So I will say the Kitchener stitch is kind of time consuming and I don't love it, but this finished project is amazing and I am so happy, and they fit. So I just use my measurements from regular socks because I know from a toe up how far I need to get before I start the heel. So from where I start the toe to where I cut in the heel needed to be like 5 5/8 inches or something like that. So those are my finished socks. I am so excited. The ends are woven in. They have not been washed, but they'll go in the laundry pile that I'll do at some point. I feel like I've been doing so much laundry this week. That's all my finished objects. So exciting. I do have some works in progress. Let's do knitting first, and I'm working on a crochet cardigan. I'm gonna save it for last because it's my favorite thing in the world. So let's talk about socks first. I do have one finished sock. Now this is a cuff down sock with a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I did not do an afterthought heel on these. And all of my ends are hanging out everywhere. So this is a very, I called these on my Ravelry page the strange socks because I do not understand this color progression at all. Like what is happening there? I kind of like it, but I don't really know how I feel. I feel like the brown goes perfectly with the orange, but then like what is this purple in the middle? I don't know. The yarn is Lana de Grossa yarn. I don't know what the colorway is. All I have on the second sock is the cuff and like maybe 10 rows. I am hoping, because this pattern, this color repeat is really long, it goes all the way from here to here, that I have enough yarn to do this second shorty sock and make them match. I really don't know if I do or not. The contrast toes, heels, and cuffs is this beautiful brown yarn that I cannot pronounce because it is a Slovenian yarn and it was sent to me by Brigitta. And so is this yarn, by the way. But this yarn you can only get in Slovenia. And she sent me 100 grams of it, so I'm really excited to use this for cuffs, heels, and toes. It feels like a very hardy, hard-wearing yarn. So this is how much yarn I pulled off the ball so that I could start at the same spot. So I'm a little worried about that, but we'll see. That is a very strange sock. I like it though. I just, who comes up with these color combinations? I don't know. Let me get a sip of water. And the other sock that I have been working on, this is actually one of the only things I worked on for the first couple of weeks when I didn't do much. And I have been hoarding this yarn in my stash for quite some time, just waiting for the perfect moment to cast it on. It was sent to me by a lovely viewer of this podcast named Kim, and it is, she sent me 2 balls of Red Heart, Heart and Soul, which is a sock yarn by Red Heart that I have never seen in any store around me, and I have never used before. And the colorway is Jellybean, and you can see why. And then the yarn that I showed last time that had the all the beautiful yarn that was gifted to me by a knitting friend at church, I have split out into what I will donate for prizes and what is staying with me. And this is one that was staying with me, so I washed it and reskeined it and balled it up, and I'm using this for the contrast. I don't know what kind of yarn this is. I'm assuming it's some kind of merino nylon blend. That's what it feels like. I didn't get very far, but look at this sock. Same thing, 64 stitches. I did 15 rows of cuff, and then I'm gonna do an afterthought heel on these because I really want to use as much of the yarn as possible. The yellow is kind of blowing out the camera a little bit, but because this pink and this blue, they're all just so vibrant, and I really like them. And Kim made me a stitch marker as well, which I've been saving to use on these socks. So I didn't get very far, but they make me really happy. So I'm excited to continue on these. These are my Jellybean socks. And definitely we'll be doing an afterthought heel on those. And I think I'm gonna try to find a different toe to do instead of a wedge toe. And I know some of you guys suggested some amazing different kinds of toes last time on the podcast, and I have not had a chance to look at any of those, but I will before I get to the toe. I did do a swatch. So as we talked about a couple of times ago, I am using my Skyrim yarn to make the long line cardigan by Hobbii Locatelli. And I did a swatch. That's all I've done. This swatch. My gauge is like 5 or 6 stitches off, like more. I have more stitches per 4 inches than she calls for. However, this is what I don't understand. My row gauge is on, my stitch gauge is off, but I'm getting 7.25 stitches per inch, which would equate to like 240, 280, I don't know, I worked out all the math. 280 stitches, 290, that's what it was. So I would need 290 stitches to make 40 inches with that gauge. However, based on her stitch counts for when you're working after you've separated for the shoulders and you're just working, or the arms and you're just working straight down, the size that I need to fit me has 284 stitches for the medium. Now I would probably make the large because it's supposed to come out with a 40-inch bust circumference, And so the large would have a 308 stitches, which would be a little bit more. But I don't understand how I'm getting, my gauge is off and I'm getting the right amount of stitches for the size I want to make. Right? Like that doesn't make sense to me. I'm also not sure that I love, like the fabric looks pretty good. However, I think I'm gonna swatch again. This I made with a 3.5 millimeter needle, I think. I'm gonna try a 3. I'm not sure. I have to kind of figure out what I'm doing. But like, how does that math work? If you have made or knitted a lot of cardigans, can you help me? Like, so if I need 290 stitches to make 40 inches, how is it that my gauge is off, but I have, based on my gauge, I have the correct amount of stitches for the size I want to make? Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. Help! So I did a tiny swatch. That's all I have done on that. I have, however, made some progress on my husband's Gramps cardigan. This is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. I am on I finished row 30 of the yoke increases. So I am currently at 201 stitches. I need to get to 355. So we've still got a ways to go. Of course, it's like repeat these 4 rows a billion times and you'll end up with this many stitches. I can't work like that, so I have made my own stitch chart. Here's row number 30, and this is how many stitches I need. Here's row number 31, this is how many stitches I need. The yarn that I am using for this is Webb's Valley Yarn Superwash DK. So this is gray as my contrast color, and this blue is what I'm working on. I've probably gone through about 2/3 of this ball. They come in 50-gram balls. And this, see if I can spread this out on the cable a little bit. This is how much I have done. It doesn't look like much, but this is a lot of knitting time. I have a tiny top of a cardigan. So you can see, maybe you can see it better if I show it this way. This is the front. I've done my little raglan increases. I made a mistake right at the very beginning where I didn't increase on the edge in the order I was supposed to, but I fudged it because you can't tell. And then here is the back. It's curling, of course, because stockinette. And then the other shoulder. This yarn is a dream to work with. It truly is so, like, it just feels so luxurious. It's plump and squishy, and it doesn't split, not even when I'm doing all the make one lefts and make one rights. And what I have been doing is just picking it up, working a little bit, maybe a couple of rows. Usually I'll do 1 knit row and 1 purl row, or if I'm feeling ambitious, I will do 2 knit and 2 purl rows. And that is how I got to row 30. And it is all of the yarn and everything is living in this tote that Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast gave to me when we met up last year. Last year? It was last year, I'm pretty sure. So it's got, she printed this Crochetcation 2018. Oh yeah, it's 2019, so that was last year. And then she made this amazing button, and we visited the Sin City knit shop. So I'm very excited to be using this bag. So that is the Gramps cardigan. Very excited about that. I have some crochet. So first I have a shawl to show you. A shawl to show you. Ugh. It's living in this. This is also from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. This bag just makes me happy because not only is it full of prints, happy prints, it's lime green. Living in here is my Just Feel Better shawl, which is a pattern by Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craft Cast. It is a free pattern, so you definitely should download this. It is just a granny shawl, so it's very simple to memorize. I totally had a spot somewhere around here where I fudged up the increases, but again, you can't tell, and I'm not gonna rip it out. So I have 3 colors for this. This first one is called Middle Earth. This is a colorway by Acorn Willows on Etsy. She just has the most beautiful, like plump, soft yarn, and that was a gift from a lovely viewer of this podcast who sent it to me last year. And so the first third of the shawl has been in this, and then I started fading in the second color. And so right here I have actually cut off the green and started with the pink, and that is Yarn Crazy Obsessions, and this is the color in the colorway Professor Slughorn. So that is my second color, which I just cut off, as I said, the green, and that's all I have left. So I don't know, maybe 10 grams, something like that. And then the third colorway, once I'm done with the second one, sorry for the rustling, they're in plastic bags, is Yarn on the Prairie, who is a lovely viewer of this podcast named Melissa, and she sent me this beautiful yarn. So you can tell, let me just hold it up like this. Oh, that's not helpful. So this is the third one that I will be fading in. Last time you saw this shawl, I was right here. So I had just done my first pink stripe, and these rows are actually quite long now, so they take a fair amount of time. So I've done all of this, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when considering how little I have crocheted recently, this was like the perfect thing to just be able to pick up and work on for a few minutes at a time. It doesn't matter if I leave off in the middle of the row, it doesn't matter at all. So I will now just be working with the second color from now on, and it has this beautiful little cloud stitch marker. So I'm very excited. Right now it's a little tiny shawlette, but it's going to get much, much bigger because I have pretty much two full skeins of yarn to add to it. Highly recommend the pattern because it will make you feel better. Finally, I have been working on a crochet cardigan. I showed it off last time. It is living in this giant sweater size bag, this Halloween bag, sent to me a very long time ago by a viewer of this podcast named Barb, who has been such a supporter of this podcast. And what is living in here is my Arianna lace cardigan. This pattern is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I think it's like $7 Canadian, so I don't know what that is American. Less. It's less money American. I highly recommend this pattern. It is, first of all, a very interesting construction. I don't know that I've ever seen a cardigan worked quite this way, and it's beautiful. And if you just read through the instructions, you might get really confused, honestly. But if you take it line by line and just do what the pattern says, it is so clear, and there are charts and there are photos, and it is worth every penny, and it's beautiful. So the yarn that I am using is Knit Picks. No, I don't have my Knit Picks Hawthorne Fingering in the colorway Klamath Falls. I believe this is, I can't get the tag out, 75% or 80% maybe Highland wool and 20% nylon per 100 grams. So I had 3 balls of this really, really dark color, and Knit Picks still had this colorway, so I ordered another 3. And of course, they don't match. They're much, much lighter, and you can really see the difference on camera. So what I'm doing is alternating skeins, and I'm doing that every 2 rows. I would like to do it every row, but then that means I would have 4 skeins of yarn attached, and that would be too much to manage, especially with the construction. So the way that this works, let me show you how much I have done. All of this. The way that this works is right, see how I can show this to you. Right here, you start working this way. This is where you start the cardigan, is right around here. And you can see it makes this beautiful lace flower panel, and then you work up, then you divide and you do 1 little split for a shoulder, only 1. Then you go back down to here and pick up and work down the other direction. And then you have to measure and like see if it fits your arm circumference, because there's only 1 size in the pattern, but it's made to be very loose. And she gives you modification instructions, so you could make this in any size by using a multiple in your measurements. Then after you've worked to a certain point here, you come back and do the other one. And let me just show you. So this is how it's gonna sit. So you've basically done the back yoke. And then what you have to do is take this, and because it's going to sit right here on your elbow, measure and just make sure that it goes around this part of your arm. It doesn't have to go around this part, just this part. So as long as it does, and of course this does with maybe a finger of wiggle room, but this is not blocked. So this is really gonna stretch out when it's blocked because it's lace. So that's fine for me. And then somehow, and this is the part where I haven't started yet because I looked at it last night and I was like, oh, it looks complicated. It's not, I just need to pay attention. You join and then start working, I'm thinking like all the way around and back and forth. So I don't really understand how that works, but I'm sure it's going to because the rest of it has worked so far. And it's beautiful. You can kind of see where I've been alternating skeins, but I feel like it's totally fine and it's blending it out a little bit. So yeah, I am highly, highly excited about this pattern. Of course, because I'm alternating skeins, there's gonna be a million ends to weave in, but that's fine, it's fine. I'm hoping actually to do the join today. I don't know if I will, but this weekend I wanted to sit down for like half an hour. There's a joining row and then there's a setup row for the rest of the cardigan. So once I do that, then it's going to be, it's not gonna fly off the hook because the rows are gonna be very, very long, like 300 something stitches or more long. But if you just do the floral lace repeat pattern, like for 60 something rows, and then you keep trying it on, and if you want it longer, you keep going, and then if you don't, you stop. And then once you do that, then you do a little collar. So I am really, really loving every second of working on that. It has been such, when I've had any brain power this week, that is what I've been working on. When I have not had brain power, I've been working on the Dress Feel Better shawl, and I'm knitting on my husband's cardigan. But, oh man, it just gives me so much joy to work on that cardigan, and it's blue, which is my favorite color, followed by pink. Don't worry, I didn't forget pink. And I can't wait to wear it, and it's lace, and it's just gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect, you guys. So thank you to the lovely person who sent me that pattern because I had never seen it before, and it is such a well-written pattern. Highly, highly recommend. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. You should buy that pattern. And I hopefully will have more progress to show you on that next time. I did get something really sweet in the mail. So I have a little bit of happy mail to show you. This is a package that showed up as a surprise from Nancy, who is a viewer of this podcast, and she actually has her own channel called Nan's Next Knots. That's a tongue twister. Nan's Next Knots. So I will put a link to her channel on YouTube down below if you would like to give her a watch. She sent me, this is a really sweet card, and then this is her little business card that she has. Hopefully you can see that. And she sent me 2 beautiful little stitch markers that she made. One of them's an owl, so sweet. And then this amazing skein of lace weight yarn. Now this yarn is really, really cool. It's called Songbird Yarn and Fibers. And this colorway is the European Starling, and you can see, hopefully, that this very much matches. It is a lace weight superwash merino, so you get 900 meters, holy cow, per 100 grams. And what she told me in her little card was that this yarn company donates some of their proceeds to helping birds somehow. So whether that's, let me read her card again and just make sure. It goes for education, wild bird education. So I'm sure that includes like classes and preservation and all kinds of efforts like that. And I just think that's beautiful. And this yarn is like, look at that luster. I don't know what in the world I'm gonna do with this yarn. I want to do something lacy and magical, honestly, but we'll see. It's probably gonna live in my stash for a little while I ponder until something perfect comes along for it, because it's just too beautiful to be wasted on something random, right? So thank you so much, Nan. That really put a big smile on my face in the last week and a half, and I needed one of those. So thank you. And of course, all of y'all, if you would like to check out her channel, the link will be directly down below. Okay, let's talk life for a moment. Because of course I didn't record last time, And I know some of you guys were worried. And I just want to show you what my husband got me for breakfast. Did you know these existed? They are gummy llamas. Look at them. I just ate a llama head for breakfast. Okay. Basically, I am okay. Everything is fine. Don't worry about me. It's been an intense couple of weeks. In fact, it's been a very intense year, as you will know if you have been watching for any length of time. I had some health issues at the beginning of the year, and what has happened in the last couple of weeks is I resigned from my position at my job. So, for those of you who may be new or don't know, I am a pastor. That is, I wasn't like the person in charge of everything, but I was a pastor on staff at a church local to me. And I and another person submitted our resignations the day before I gave you that little life update. So there was just some things going on, and we kind of are going to be starting something different. And I can't really talk about the new project that I'm working on at the moment. I will, as soon as I can, I will tell you. It'll be a couple of months before I can share with you what that is. So I'm okay. It's just, I don't have anything bad to say about my former employer. I was there for quite a long period of time. Pretty much the entire time my husband and I have been married, I was there in some capacity or another. I've been working there full time for 2 years, and it's like family to me, so it was very, very difficult to say goodbye to that. At the same time, there have been some situations this year that have gone on that have significantly contributed to my anxiety and my mental health not being super great this year. So I honestly don't have anything bad to say. However, I feel like now that I have submitted my resignation and will be working on something else, that I can breathe a little bit, which is a nice feeling. So I've had this entire week off from work, and they were kind enough to help support my family for a little while. So this week I have just been meeting with friends, and I have been sleeping a lot. Like, I'm not a person generally that sleeps in. Like, if I sleep in, maybe 8 a.m. Maybe. Because I just can't. Once I can take a nap, but I can't really sleep in. I didn't get out of bed till like 10 a.m. this morning, and that's been pretty standard all week. I have been just sleeping, going to bed early, and just trying to center myself, I guess would be a good way to say it. I have been crocheting, working on things that make me happy. I have, of course, written up 2 crochet patterns that I need to take photos of now. I got that pattern ready for publication and started a new crochet cardigan, which made me very happy. As I said, I've been spending some time with friends, and it has been a very big blessing to me to be able to spend some time with people that I haven't for a while, and to kind of just, I don't know. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional. I am very emotional at the moment, although it's much better than it was last week. And I'm not apologizing for being emotional. Nobody like watches this podcast to see me like crying in a corner. So I don't really know what else to say other than I have resigned my position, and that is what has gone on in the last 2 weeks. I am very excited about what is in store. However, now I need a job. I do not have another job at the moment. So obviously my husband and I are going to have to pay our bills somehow. I don't know if you can hear him. He's right over there. He works from home, and he's typing. So next week I will be looking for a job, and dedicating all of my time to that until I find one. Cause you gotta eat, right? I assume that I will be working from my yarn stash very much. I've been doing that mostly all of this year already, because the hospital bills I had at the beginning of the year were pretty expensive. But I am blessed and lucky enough to have a yarn stash that I can work from, and I would say probably half of my yarn stash has come from you guys. So if you have ever sent me any yarn to use for any reason, sorry, I'm gonna cry. You are keeping my yarn life going at the moment this entire year, because the only yarn I think I have purchased, I spent $30 on the yarn for the cardigan, and I bought my husband's yarn. Of course, that was several weeks ago before this happened, so thankfully that was several weeks ago, so that it already arrived, can't take it back. And 2 other skeins of yarn this year. So you guys, like, I don't even know how many of the projects I showed you and patterns I showed you are from this community who has sent it to me and supported me in doing this, and you guys are the reason that I am able to keep giving you content, especially this year, and coming to you and showing you new things. And okay, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who has reached out and sent me sweet messages and supported this podcast in any way over the past entire time it's been in existence, over 2 years now, but especially this year. It has really meant the world to me, and I love doing this. I don't know what I would do without yarn or without this community. So you guys have really helped sustain me through some pretty difficult times. 2019 has not been great, but it still has time to turn around. It's not been awful the entire time. I've got some things that I'm very much looking forward to at the beginning of coming up. So at the end of September, my husband and I are going on a cruise, which actually I know some people like have really strong opinions about cruises. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be trapped on a boat, but I love it because nobody can get a hold of me. Like, you can't use your phone or the Wi-Fi unless you pay an exorbitant amount of money. And cruises, for the money, honestly give you quite a vacation, because you pay a set amount, and I mean, you can always spend more money if you want to, but all of your food is included, your transportation is included, and your room and board is included, and you can eat as much as you want. Like, that's the point of going on a cruise. Like, you literally have to relax. You cannot do anything else. So at the end of September, we're going to be doing that, and I'm literally counting the days before we do that. And I don't know, that was a tangent. Anyways, I feel like I'm rambling and not making a lot of sense, but it's hard for me to put all of this into any kind of cohesive statement. I'm just grateful for you, and I hopefully am going to keep on this podcasting schedule. I'm definitely going to keep podcasting every 2 weeks. I don't want you guys to worry about that. My job situation, of course, has already changed. It's Friday right now when I am recording this, but I've got to find a job. So I assume that I will be working a normal job for a while, Monday through Friday, and that will mean that I don't have Fridays to record anymore. So I used to record every other Saturday morning and then post the episode later in the afternoon. I really love having the episode available for you guys early Saturday morning. I know some of you, that's the way you like to watch it with your coffee or your tea, but I don't know. I will keep you informed as much as I can, but don't worry, I still will record every 2 weeks. And I feel weird saying this, but if you have resources and you are a member of this community and you would like to support this podcast in any way, I do have a Patreon page for this podcast. The link is directly down below. There are all kinds of tiers. Everybody gets the same thing, which is a love letter from me every Sunday that is specifically focused on encouragement and mental health, and it will come out sometime every Sunday morning. I will write that love letter, and I have already written 5. I can't believe it's been 5 already since I launched the page, and that is brought me a great amount of joy as well. So you don't feel guilty if you don't have the resources, but if you would like to support this podcast and support me in that way, you absolutely can, and of course that will help my life at the moment. And there's a coffee account for this podcast as well if you want to make a one-time donation, or you can buy a pattern and then you'll get something for your money, which is the Tunisian Zen Cowl. And of course the link to all of my patterns are down below as well. So That was kind of hard for me to get out. I'm not sure why, actually, because I, as you all know, try my best to be as honest as I can be about what is going on in my life, and I can't wait to share with you some new and exciting things in the coming months. But for now, I am just trying to keep going and walk through what the next steps will be in my life and say goodbye to some people that were really, really important to me. And of course they still will be, but definitely not in the same way. And yeah, so thanks for listening. I gotta stop or I'm not gonna be able to keep it together. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. That helps me to know, in Instagram, YouTube, to know that I am putting out content that you would like to see more of. You leave me a comment below. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know if you have any vacation plans for the rest of the year. That is something I think could bring me some joy. And until I see you next time, I hope that you have a wonderful 2 weeks. That it's not intense, that it's not draining, that it's not overwhelming, that it's joyful and beautiful and restful. And if it's not, just keep going. It'll be okay. I know it's not right now, but it will be. So just keep going. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Happy crafting, friends. Bye.